My channel is Fatima here, also known as Can Call Me an Artist on social media, and today I'll be reviewing these OHUHU supplies for the first time and letting you know what I think of them. The materials I'm going to be testing out today are the OHUHU Dual Nib Waterproof Acrylic Pens that come with 30 colors. I'll be reviewing the OHUHU Honolulu 48 pastel colors, and I also have the 36 skin color set. And to test all these supplies out, I have the spiral bound mixed media pad from them as well. So let's get started. Today I'll be drawing Jin from BTS from the music video I'll Be There. I really like the lights and shadows on his face, so I thought this was the perfect photo. To be honest, I thought I forgot all my drawing skills because I haven't drawn in a while, but this sketch surprisingly took me only 20 minutes to do and it was really easy, just because the forms were really easy to see from the picture. To start this sketch, I drew in my guidelines. If you saw my previous video on how I sketch, I usually start off with a circle and I map out roughly where the features are going to go. Some of it didn't film, but I think you can see clearly how I've mapped out everything. The texture of this paper is very smooth, kind of like hot press paper, which made it very easy to sketch smoothly as it was in a rough texture. And because this texture was very smooth, I was really scared that whilst I was rubbing it out, it might like disrupt the paper or like ruin the paper, but it actually didn't. Like, it was very good quality and it was very thick, which I really enjoyed. The sketching experience was really fun. After mapping out the rough guidelines, I went in and I started drawing some of the features. The materials I'm using today is the Pentel 0.5 mechanical pencil. It's my favorite to sketch with, like I'm able to add such a light pressure. And alongside this, I use my kneadable eraser by Faber-Castell. It's one of my favorite materials because I can just press it on the paper where I've drawn and it picks up the extra lead that's not needed, which makes the drawing very faint, so I can go in and add more detail or fix some of the details. Another supply you'll see me using a lot is the Tombow Mono Eraser. It's like a very fine tip, almost like a pencil, and you can go and really like erase very tiny errors and mistakes, and that is very useful, especially because I really like having detailed work. It wasn't this green eraser that I was using. Actually, this one has no brand. I have no idea what brand it is, but the Tombow eraser is kind of on the same wavelength, like it does the same. And now the sketch is finally coming together. I'm just drawing the background and erasing all the lines that are not needed because I do not want them to smudge when I add the alcohol markers on top. Before I start coloring, I really do need to swatch all the colors and the materials to see what I'm working with. Like, I need to get an idea of what the colors translate on paper, the consistency, and how it flows on paper, and that kind of saves me while painting because I know what to expect. They're all so pretty. Look at them. Thank you so much, OHUHU, for being so generous and sending me these art supplies. I really had fun using them. Even though they were sent to me, I will be giving my 100% honest review. I found it very cool that the acrylic markers had two ends, one with a finer nib and another with a thicker nib. And I really liked this as it allowed me to fill in areas or outline areas very easily depending on what my need was for that specific part of the painting. The alcohol markers also had two ends, one with a chisel nib and the other with a felt brush tip, which is very popular upon people that use alcohol markers, and I really like it because it does mean that you can create a smoother blend because of it. These pastel colors are so beautiful, however I did realize that they did tend to oxidize more on different papers, so if you are using a different type of paper than these swatching cards, make sure you swatch in that book so you can get the most accurate color selection. And now I'm swatching the skin tone color set, and I really like that they have a variety of different skin tones and shades. These are all the colors of the alcohol markers. Now let's swatch the acrylic markers. When you open the acrylic marker, obviously the color is not going to be there. You actually have to press on the page a couple of times for probably like 25 seconds so the ink can flow and come down, and then that's when you'll be able to use the acrylic markers. I really loved these acrylic markers. They were very creamy and they glid on the paper very well. One thing to note, if you go on top to layer it another time while it's still wet, it will like, what's that thing? What's that thing? It will ruin the paper. So I wouldn't recommend that. I recommend you wait for that color to dry and then you go over it again, but you really don't need to because the colors are very opaque. I loved the color selection, like so creamy and like I don't know, like it really fits my art style. For example, like the brown, it wasn't a warm tone brown, it was like a very cool tone brown, which I really prefer. Also, I'm really glad that I got these as well because I had the pastel color set and the skin tone color set, but my work obviously consists of very vibrant and bright colors, which this added to my work and elevated my final piece for sure. Now to prep my drawing, I'm using my kneadable eraser from Faber-Castell again and I'm picking up the extra lead so it doesn't smudge. I also wanted to do some testing. Every pack of alcohol markers comes with this plastic sheet and I really like the concept of this and I love that they've included it in their packs. This is to add behind the paper that you're drawing on so it avoids transferring. On that testing page, I also decided to see how the two colors blend together, two colors that I was planning to use, and they blended in very well together. At first, I didn't think it would like melt into each other, but it did. I did end up going with a colorless blender to see if that will help blend them, but I found that it kind of picked up the color and made it a little bit patchy, which I did avoid when I was coloring this picture. Before I start any painting, I do love to do an eye observation. I was a bit anxious on starting the painting, so I did this off camera and the eye observation turned out so beautiful as you can see. On that testing page, I also decided to test out my fine liner to see if it would bleed in with the alcohol markers, and it didn't bleed, which was surprising because most of the fine liners do bleed in with the alcohol markers, but this Winsor & Newton really came through. And so I decided to outline all the darkest areas and all the details that I didn't want to lose when I started coloring. Unfortunately, I don't remember the colors I was using throughout these paintings, so I can't really let you know what they are. But my top favorite colors were buttercup yellow, warm gray. I used a lot of pale cherry pink for like the blush and pinky areas, also the shadows. And one of the colors I loved using was Thin Permission. It was like the perfect shadow shade and I continued using that throughout the portrait. It was like the perfect purpley brown nude color. And I think I'm using it here. Or am I using pale cherry pink? I don't remember. Sorry about that. To start off coloring, I did use the chisel tip and I really loved using it. Like I know a lot of people don't like using it, but it helped me cover like a very large surface area in one go very quickly and it did end up smoothing. Like there was not a lot of strokes. And for the rest of the coloring, I did use the brush felt nib, which was also amazing. Also, you can see that this part of the painting was very patchy, but that is completely my fault. I didn't know what the correct shade was to use in that section, and I wasn't really sure how to paint that section. Like, it wasn't very clear on the picture. So I do end up going back to that section and trying to fix it throughout the painting. And instead of going over it with different colors and trying to fix it in the moment, I just let it dry. I focused on different parts of the painting and then I went in to that section when I felt more confident or when I thought I had like an idea on how I can fix it. I know it looks very questionable right now, but please always trust the process. I trusted the process and like I filled in the darker areas, I focused on different areas of the face and it kind of distracted from that cheek area, which I was really happy about because I spent so long coloring it already that I was like, oh, I really don't want to start again. I really wanted to show my first real impression. So please don't be disheartened when using a new material, just pull through and the end result will always turn out very good. As you can see here, I didn't have like a dark red shade, so I decided to use the acrylic marker as kind of like watercolors. Like I drew some of the lips and I blended it out with water and that turned out very nice. Like I ended up utilizing a marker in a different way to kind of elevate my drawing. I'm also very used to mixing my own like transitional shades, so it was a bit of a challenge to kind of use whatever pens there are, but they did have a great color selection which made me able to create this painting in the end. Also, for this coloring, I tried to avoid using any other material because I really wanted to showcase what OHUHU has to offer, and I think it produced a very amazing result. I did end up using Prismacolor pencils to fix some of the brightness in the face, but that's because I messed up and I went in with a color and went all over the drawing, which kind of removed some of the tonal value that I really wanted. Considering how it blends, what the package also comes with, such as like the plastic piece of paper, the swatch sheets, and it being such great quality, I think the prices for them is very good and affordable, and I do really recommend them to begin with. I have used other expensive markers from different brands, and to be honest, they produce the same exact result. For OHUHU being so affordable, I really recommend these. Like, the quality is amazing. The markers are very juicy and they flow very nice on the paper, they blend very nicely together, and the color range is amazing. We are now nearing the end of the painting. I'm really happy with how it turned out, like the vibrancy of the colors, the tones and the values and contrast I was able to achieve using them. I would love to hear from you and see what you think of these markers. If you've used them before or you're planning to get them, please do let me know in the comment section down below. If you would like to buy any of these supplies, OHUHU was kind enough to give me a discount code. Please use canCallMeArtist at checkout to receive 10% off. Thank you so much in joining me in trying out these new art supplies. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!